Our time at Almeria as DOF so far has been pretty plain sailing, but since then, I found out that the owner is scaling back their investment in the club, and I've sold one of our wonder kids for over £100 million. Chavez Carretero, colon, or another one? Guess you'll have to find out by watching the next bit of this. Come on, let's get into the video. Hello, welcome back to the Almeria DOF Save, episode 9. Sorry for the brief intermission last week. I'm feeling a lot better, and we're back at the Almeria helm. And I start on this screen here. Charles Weah, our winger that we signed, I think 2 seasons ago, has moved on. He is the big sale that I talked about, the one that was in the thumbnail, etc., etc. We have sold him to Newcastle. You would have maybe remembered that he was linked with them at the end of last season, and he is gone. He is signed for Newcastle for £130 million. Not a bad return for a player that we signed for £4.9 million. 2 seasons worth of playing for us. Look, did pretty well. Not even over a 7 average rating, actually. So is this good money? I feel like it is good money. I mean, he's a brilliant player. Look at the attributes on him, and I think he's probably going to get better too. He's still only 22, but £130 million brought into the club. It's exactly what we're trying to do here at Almeria, as long as we can replace him, which is the order of the day. I'm just going to throw up on the screen here, look, a breakdown of the deal, exactly how it worked. It was £110 million up front that can rise to £150 million if he makes the appearances. Just so you can see when it came in, I thought you'd be interested in that. But Charles Weah is no longer an Almeria player, and he's just one of lots of signings that I've managed to do and sell over the course of this summer. The date is the 13th of August 2029. I've completed all of our summer business, and actually since this point I've played until January. It's going to be a bit of a bumper episode today, or at least we're going to make a lot of progress in the save in today's episode, because we didn't have a video last week, so I wanted to, forward things on a little bit and get closer to, I guess, what our aim for this series, which is to win the Champions League. It feels like a long way off right now, but that has to be the aim, right? And I want to see this series through to its natural conclusion. So I think that has to become our aim. Anyway, Charles Weah has gone, and I've done some other signings too. Would you like to see them? I bet you would. Let's have a look at them. And here is then our transfer business for this summer. Annoyingly, in Spain, the tick-over date is the 10th of July. So some of your transfers go into last seasons on here, look. But if I highlight them, you should be able to see these are the deals that we did for this summer. There is plenty coming in. Some names that we will look at, some big money spent, 34.5 million, 33 million spent, and some big names out. Obviously, the biggest being Charles Weah going to Newcastle, 130 million, rising to 150 million, financing everything we were doing. Because one of those things also that I mentioned earlier was that our owner is scaling back their investment in the club. I'm a bit worried about what this means. One of the big reasons we came to Almeria was because of that tycoon owner and the money that they could potentially put into the club. If they stop doing that now, we're going to have to try and make that money ourselves by signing players young, developing them a little bit and selling them for a massive price, like we did with Charles Weah. Hopefully some of these players that we've signed can do that too. These are the signings then. A couple of things. In fact, let's look at the outs first. Aaron, our left back, he left on a free. We knew about this one anyway. He was always going to leave. He's gone to Cologne. And then finally, Johnson, we've sold the manager's son because, well, he really wanted to leave. Well, I say I sold him. He's out on loan. He's gone to FC Emmen that's in Holland, right? He's gone out on loan to them because he wasn't getting enough game time. And I've signed a new backup striker or 2, which I'll show you now. This is most of the money then that we have spent. We have signed a new backup left back. This is Milan Jambo. Do you know what? Let's actually click on him properly. He is 17. Loads of potential. I've done the same thing. I've been looking for those players with the potential that can come in, maybe be a backup, develop a little bit, maybe step into the team in the future. Milan Jambo is going to replace Aaron in our side. It means that Markovic probably has to start at left back, and we'll go through that squad as well to give you the full picture of what it's looking like into this season. But I think Milan Jambo, I'm looking at his potential here. I think there's a lot of developing for him to do, and most of his attributes are looking pretty good for a left back already. Like, he's not slow. He's 17, by the way, so there's a lot of development here. Really good balance. His crossing's okay. New gen fullbacks and wing backs. I mean, to get them to be able to cross is seemingly impossible. It just doesn't exist, does it? But he's got decent tackling, good marking, passing. His positioning's really good. Decisions are really good. I think there's a lot here to work with, especially with this potential. He has come in for £8 million. I don't think it was all up front, although maybe it was. Maybe it was a release clause. He's joined from Bielefeld in Germany in the second division there, and he's already played some games for them and done really well, look, for them too. So I think there's a lot of potential for him. He's the first signing. There's a couple of extra signings there that you've not seen yet. Let's move through to these other ones here. I'm going to go to the one that was on a free first of all, because this one, not expecting as much, but I am expecting to hopefully make some money off it. His name is Prince Pay. I think I might have shown you him in a previous episode anyway. He's an attacking midfielder, 21 years old. He was free, and I hope that he can develop a little bit and we can make some money. He's now valued at about £7.5 million to £10 million, which means there might be a bit of money to make on him, which, if our owners are scaling back their investment, might be something that's going to be important. It might be important to pick up guys like Mark Scott, for example, as well, who doesn't have a lot of value. I was expecting a bit more, but he looks like a good player. Maybe he needs game time. Maybe he needs to be loaned, actually, just thinking. He does have some interest, the Irishman. That's a separate issue, but maybe something to look at in the future. Finally, then, and you're probably waiting for these two, we have gone big with two other signings. Rafael Marina. Rafael Marina, before I click on him, is the replacement for Charles Weah on the left-hand side of our front four. I guess we've got the striker and then the three behind him. He is going to be our left-hand side one because it's where he naturally plays. He's left-footed, so he's not going to be cutting in, but he's 19. He's Spanish, so he's homegrown. He's currently injured at the moment. Is that worrying? He's got a torn hamstring. I think he did that. Yeah, he's actually done that 4 days ago in a 15-0 win in a friendly, which is kind of depressing, but let's hope it doesn't put him back too much. It feels a bit like Luis Diaz when he went to Liverpool and then got that massive injury. Hopefully it doesn't hold him back too much, but a lot of potential on him once again. Already really, really good. Already got a massive value. Only on 39k a week. He's already a Spain under-21 international. He's got a fantastic pace and agility. I love a new gen that's got this like 20 agility. It's really, really good. Great technique, great off the ball. Attributes in the right places. Some gaps to his game, admittedly. But at 19, Rafael Marina joining from Vigo, where he played a whole season for them in the first division. So he's played in the league already and did about as good as Charles Weah did, to be honest, looking at the average rating anyway. He comes in and he's going to be the replacement for Weah, alongside some other options as well, of course. But Rafael Marina, what do you think of him? Does he need a face? Let me know in the comments down below. I think he probably does. I think for this save, it might be quite nice to give a lot of these guys faces, generate them using Midjourney. Maybe I'll do a video on how you do that as well. I know a lot of you have been asking about that. Anyway, he is in on our left wing. And then finally, we talked about a backup striker behind Chavez Carretero, who I'm still calling by his full name, by the way. Ulysses. I saw a lot of people talking about that being his nickname. I kind of like that now, you know, but at the moment, he's still Chavez Carretero. Duvan Boldovino is our backup striker, and I don't know if we needed to spend this much money on a striker that was probably going to be a backup, but look how good he is. I almost feel like I wish we were going to play two strikers, because this guy, 21, Colombian, homegrown as well, by the way, because he's also Portuguese, which really helps in this. We've actually only got 2 non-EU players now because Ulysses Chavez Carretero is now homegrown. We'll look at that in the squad when we look at it. But Boldovino, 21... he's on big wages. We spent quite a lot of money on him, but he was at Porto scoring goals for them last season. I just think this guy is going to be one of the best strikers on the game. It's just like he's got all of the attributes. He's quick, 16 pace, 14 acceleration, great agility, natural fitness is right up there, 16 finishing. I'm hoping he's just going to score a load of goals. Him and Chavez Carretero, we're well stocked at striker now, aren't we? He is our last big signing, except if you include this guy here, Jose Gaia, who's going to become on new left back. I talked about Markovic being the first choice just before. He's not actually going to be. I don't think he's good enough, and I wanted to mix in some experience. So I've spent maybe too much on a 34-year-old, about £10 million on Jose Gaia. I just think the experience he brings to us, the amazing crossing, the amazing passing technique, just so solid defensively as well. I just felt like it made sense to go and bring in Jose Gaia. I think he gives us something that is going to be useful, looking to stay in these Champions League spots and actually going to play in the Champions League. I don't think Markovic was quite good enough if I compare him with Markovic, by the way, who is our other left-back option. I think he's just a better left-back. I mean, look at that. Look at the difference between the technicals and the mentals. A few physicals. Obviously, he's a bit older. He's 34. Well, he's about 12 years older. But I think that's a significant improvement. And the reason that I spent £10 million, which I think, to be honest, we might make our money back. Maybe. He's only on a 1-year deal as well. So, no, 2-year deal, sorry, I should say. Which means that we won't have to keep him for too long if, you know, if we wanted to get rid of him. He'll be into his last year of his contract next season. But I guess it's slightly different to what we've been normally doing in this save with the signings we've made. But I think mixing in some experience might not be the worst idea. So Jose Gaia's come in, and then there's one more signing, which is Ivan Amor has joined the club. He is a backup goalkeeper because Stefan Ortega has moved on. He's cost us, I think it rises to £10 million, £8 million, 4.6 million. I think he's a good backup goalkeeper with attributes in the right place for me. I don't think he's going to develop too much, but I think he will develop a little bit. He's got under 23 caps for Argentina. I think he's just a good backup instead of Ortega. And that's it for our summer window, actually. A couple of extra bits to mention as well. We have not released, but we have had some players leave the club. We had Aaron leave there, and we had Ortega leave there. I have, as a lot of you were asking about, if I just go back to this one here, I have given Diakabi a new 1-year deal. He signed a 1-year deal on £54,000 per week to play our next season. I think it was necessary. Lots of you agreed that he needed 1 more year, and that's what we've given him. That's everything we've done in the window. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you the squad, how it's going to set up, maybe have a look at the squad planner as well to go through things there. And then what I've done is I've played up until January, until the 31st of December. In fact, I'm going to show you how half of our season has gone already with this squad. And maybe we can discuss what we need to do in January, if anything is possible in January. So let me show you the squad, and we'll get into the rest of this, or half of this season. I think the best way actually to show you this squad in all of its glory, how I've tried to build the squad, is to use the squad planner. It's quite a useful way to visualize it if we go through, and I think that's what I'm going to do right now. So I'm going to start with the goalkeepers. We've got Matthew Colon still at the club, of course. Here he is with our new backup, which is Ivan Amor. Of course, obviously in some of these positions there are extra players. Our squad's quite big right now. I'm going to have a look at it and see if there's anybody else we can sell, but I don't think we're going to. In fact, I know that I don't, because I've played on since this point anyway, but maybe in the future we might need to trim it down slightly. But of course, take this with a slight pinch of salt in that there are other players. We don't just have 2 keepers at the club. For example, if I went to the senior or the B team, there's going to be 2 goalkeepers in there. Look, in the under-19 squad, there's another 2 goalkeepers there if we really had to use them. Into right back, we've got Mario Fernandez is first choice, and then Alejandro Pozo is our backup. Pozo played a lot of games last season. Will probably still play a lot of games. In fact, he's listed as a star player. I wonder if I could maybe move him down. Would he be happy enough? See, look, he'd be happy enough to go to a regular starter, so I'm going to move him down to that right there. But Fernandez is probably the better of the 2 right backs. He needs a face because he looks violently ill, as somebody said in the comments in a recent video. So yeah, maybe he does need a new face, but he's our right back and a really good one. Left back, we've now got Jose Gaia coming in at left back to be first choice. Markovic is now backup. Don't think he's got a lot of growth in him, even though he's quite young. He's only 22, but is a very able backup. And then Milan Jambor is the guy with all the potential, hopefully to develop. Look at his value already, by the way. Jambor, 27 to 35 million pounds. That's exciting, isn't it? In at centre-back, and of course with these positions, if it really was needed, we could use a left-sided one at right centre-back, etc, etc, and they can go across, and I'm sure that Good Johnson would do that. But just to show you the way that I've built the squad, I've tried to build with at least 2 really good players in each position, and then of course they might be used in other places as well. As we go through the squad, you'll see what I mean by that. Diakabi's probably still first choice at right centre-back. We've got Keiki as a backup. He's been here ages, and he's just happy to be a squad player. He did ask to move, although he did, yeah, I say he's happy to be a squad player. He does want his initially agreed playing time, but I don't think I want to get rid of him because he's just quite cheap, and to keep him as a backup I think is useful. We do have Thomas Svoboda coming up strong and fast as a young centre-back, 18 years old. I wonder if he starts to get game time this year. Look at the potential on him. He's maybe the future. That's why we've kept Diakabi for another season. Hopefully it's enough time to give some matches to Svoboda for next season. Maybe we'll see what Good Johnson chooses to do with that one. Left centre-back, Perez and Antonacci. We are well stocked at left centre-back, a 21-year-old and a 20-year-old. I'm not actually sure which one's better. I mean, Antonacci's on more wages because we bought him later on and we had a higher reputation, so we wanted more. But I think Luis Perez is very, very good there, still developing himself. Maybe not quite as good physicals as Antonacci. Maybe Antonacci might start games. We'll see, actually, who Good Johnson chooses between the two of them, but both of them are really, really good. Into defensive midfield, they are two defensive midfielders. Not quite sure on the roles, but we have Lavia on one side with Hedwig Koch as a backup. Look at the potential on him. And then Berkovic, still lots of potential on him for him to improve as well. Two really good backups for Lavia. Of course, these might interchange too, because on the other side, we only have one backup, and he's a youngster at 18-year-old Chevalier for Moretti. By the way, Moretti might be our best player, just in terms of pure where he is at, you know, his level that he's at. He's a star player. He might be our best player. He's got a lot of interest in him as well. Inter Milan really looking at Moretti to take him back to Italy. Not something I want to do, but maybe in the future, if say Chevalier himself develops enough, maybe that's something that we look to do. Maybe Hedwig Koch as well. Very, very good. We saw that he played games last year, didn't we, when we brought in Bomb, but Hedwig Koch got in ahead of him. Berkovic himself is also pretty good as well. We're pretty well stocked at defensive midfield, but it does look like we maybe need... Do we need one more? Do we need three on each of these? I feel like that's what we kind of thought last year. We'll see. We'll see. Let's go to right wing, where we have Alejandro back for another season. He's our boy. He's our loanee. He just keeps staying. I did think about signing him on a permanent transfer with the money that we got for Vea. And I decided, you know what, if we can just loan him, it just makes sense to keep loaning him. In January, I'll probably ask to try and loan him again. His contract at PSG runs until 2033. So he's still got 4 years left on his contract there. So we're probably not going to sign him anytime soon, unless they transfer list him or something. Aguiar is the backup on this side. He played a lot of games last year, cutting in from that side. Pozo played a lot of games at right wing. That's why I've included him here, even though he is really a right back for me. And then the youngster is Robin Bertrand, or Bertrand. He's 17 with lots of potential too. Left-hand side, Marina, the new guy, has just torn his hamstring, so that's worrying. But we have Geffroy. I don't know why Pozo's there. Pozo's probably not going to play on that side. Although we do, I mean, some of these can play on the left-hand side as well. If we go to the middle, players like players like Prince Pay can probably play on the left-hand side as well. In fact, he's listed as being able to play there too. So we do have backups too. Freitas, though, is the main man at Cam at number 10. Maxence Jarry played a lot of games and is developing quite nicely. Duvan Baldovino, the backup striker, can play as a shadow striker or as an attacking midfielder. Just something to mention. So I've kept him in here. And then Prince Pay, not sure how much game time he's going to get, but we signed him probably to try and moneyball him, to be honest, is an option there too. And then up front, Chavez Carretero. Look how good he is. He's unbelievable. By the way, he did come to speak to me because I rejected a bid from Atletico Madrid, I think it was. And I had to promise him that if somebody bid £120 million, I would accept it. I'd probably reject it anyway, but just to bear in mind that he is attracting some interest at the moment. Baldovino's the backup striker, and somebody I don't think I've shown you yet, but somebody I signed a while ago, Dries Meis. I signed him as a 17-year-old. He played, I mean, can you see why I like him? He's 6'5" with 17 finishing. I don't know if his potential is quite as high as some of the other players, but I think as a backup, this guy is very me. I wish he could make some of these other attributes a bit better. He's got 9 composure, for example, 9 heading, despite being 6'5". But he's a goal scorer because in the under-19s, he played 42 games and scored 71 goals. Probably deserving of a few chances in the first team, I think. That is great goal scoring. This year, we'll see what he does. He's already, 3 appearances, look. I think those are in the friendlies before the season. He's got 6 goals in that. This guy does score goals in non-competitive games, so he's our third choice striker. That's the side we are predicted in the Spanish league to finish 5th. That's because Atletico and Villarreal, who have become a great team, are slightly above us. The only player in the Dream 11 is Matthew Colon. Chavez Carretero must be close to being better than Ansu Fati, surely. Surely. I mean, he does look quite good, to be fair to him. That's where we're predicted. I'm aiming for Champions League again. Can we consolidate our place in the Champions League for next season and then continue to build from there? Because we're struggling slightly. We do have money. We've got £57 million in the bank after that Vea sale. We've got 10 million still to spend. I'm not going to spend any more from here because I think the squad's in a good place. The projection doesn't look good though. We are in a little bit of debt. Transfer debt 69 million. That's those future clauses. And we're in a little bit of overall debt too because the owner has decided to stop giving us money, which is a bit worrying, but we will see. We'll see where we go from here. I'm going to go now up until January to show you how half of this season has gone. Hopefully you've enjoyed this squad building aspect of this video. I'll see you when we've played some matches. Okay, welcome to just about the halfway point of our season. And we sit 4th. It's probably where you'd expect us to be. We've made no real strides on last season, but we've stuck about. We're still in the Champions League places, 18 games in. We've won 11, drawn 2, lost 5. I'm going to show you those results. I'm going to go through the squad as well. We'll jump over to that tactics screen. I'll show you who's been playing and where, who's been successful, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about what we might want to do in this January window where, I guess I'll break the news to you straight away. We've not really got any money to spend. We've got 3 million left in our budget and 15,000 left in our wage budget. We've not got much money at the club. When we talked about the owner scaling back his investment, we've got £15,000 of debt. It's not a lot of debt, but we don't have any money. We have no money. We're going to have to think about selling some players maybe in January, definitely in the summer, to finance anything that we're going to do in the future. We've got £12 million guaranteed for next season, which isn't ideal. We will make money with the Champions League, etc. We're doing okay. We're actually not in a huge amount of debt. There's £57 million of transfer debt, which will pay off quite quickly. I think I'm going to have to stop doing the future installments now for deals, but you can see the money that we can make. Sales like Veya, we made so much money. We signed him for £4.9 million, sold him for £150 million. We've got that money to come in as well with some of those clauses. In fact, if I just go back to the clauses on here, a lot of these, look, will make us some money in the future. When they move on again. Look, there's still money to be made from Charles Veya. We're going to get another £10 million in June and then another £10 million the year after that as well. We'll get £20 million when he makes 15 international appearances, and he is in the Serbia squad. I've clicked on Serbia rather than his name there. He is in the Serbia squad too, so he will make those appearances and we will get that money as well in the future, and hopefully we'll sell some players too. But this season so far, 4th in the league. I'll show you this page because it's a pretty good overview actually of everything that's going on right now. 4th in the league. We've just gone above Valencia by beating them in the most recent game 3-1. Let's click on it. Let's have a look at this game to show you who's been playing in each position. This was the squad that was selected by Johnson. I've actually just been looking at future managers as well. If we only finish in the Champions League, do we need to change the manager to make the next step? I'm thinking about it. I think right now I had a good look through. There's no one really that would be interested in joining that would be better than Johnson, except for this guy. Let me know what you think. Rene Maric would join us. We have a look at him as a manager. Amazing motivating, amazing judging player ability and potential, amazing tactical knowledge. He does play a gegenpress, plays a 4-4-2, which I don't know if that would hold us back. And his people management isn't particularly good, but should we make the move to Maric at some point? He's a former Dortmund assistant manager, Leeds coach. He's a little bit more unknown than some of the names we've gone for previously, but that was the one that I saw that could be maybe somebody that will take us to the next level. We'll see. This is the league table then. This is the player stats. It is Chavez Carretero, the top goal scorer. He's got 15 in 18 games so far. I think it's 11 in the league, so not quite as his free scoring best, but he's still right up there. I think he's joint 3rd in the top goal scoring charts. Highest average rating since his, what was it he did? He tore his hamstring. Rafael Marina has been really, really good on this left-hand side for us. He's played a lot of games, 11 starts, 3 goals, 3 assists. That average rating is better than what Charles Veya's average rating was for us. So we can definitely continue to develop him. Maybe he's one we sell for a massive amount of money in the future. Alejandro has 8 assists. He is here on loan, and I've just made a new bid to try and loan him again, because why not, right? PSG keep accepting this. We might as well get him for next season as well. He's now basically, he's been an Almeria player longer than he's played more games for us than he's played for anybody else. He's ours at this stage. We're just going to keep loaning him. I think he's got 8 assists. Luis Perez got 90% pass completion, which is pretty good. Player of the matches. Gaia's got 3 player of the match awards, which I think is pretty good. Diakabi's got 4 yellow cards and Luis Perez got sent off once. Here are the competitions. Champions League. We are 13th in the group phase, the league phase of the Champions League, which means at the moment we're looking good to qualify. If we can win 1 or 2 more games, we might just be able to get into this automatic qualifying. Tottenham, by the way, our former team, right at the very top of that. They've won all of their games. They're still a really, really good football team. In the league, by the way, I think you want to see, they're 2nd. Still not winning this league title, just behind Arsenal, 3 points. I hope they can go and win that. They make the Champions League final. They're really good in Europe. Will Still is still the manager over there. They're secure finances. They actually did sell one of the players that I brought in. I wanted to show you as well. Mortalotta, do you remember him? We brought him in to the club for about £17 million. They've just sold him for £38 million and made a profit on him. I did wonder if I should go and buy him, but I think it was too much money, and we've got Jose Gaya at left back now, haven't we? So just a heads up on him. Otherwise, they have signed some other people here, but not spending loads of money. I guess because their squad's really good already. Like, there's some of the players listed. Guardiola's listed for £51 million. Oh, I wish we had money and maybe would even be interested in joining us, but he actually would. I don't think we could afford him, but they've listed Josko Guardiola. Considering he's playing as well, that's quite an interesting one. There's the squad anyway, over at Spurs. Get this off the screen. You can see, oh my word, Awono is starting. Why does that keep popping up? Awono starting for them. Another player that we signed for super cheap. I wish we'd signed him for Almeria now, but there we go. That's an update on Spurs. Let's get back to what we were doing, which is looking at the Champions League here. Our games so far, 6 games played. We've beaten Celtic, beaten Rosenborg. Is that a win against Dortmund? No, it was a loss against Dortmund. I didn't know if they did the home or the away. It's wins against Celtic, Rosenborg, and Napoli. Most recently, I think the Napoli game was. We drew to Club Brugge. We lost to Dortmund and to Benfica. We're doing all right in the Champions League. We can still win the league. We could also finish bottom in the in La Liga. Spanish Cup, we went out in the third. No, I don't think we've entered the Spanish Cup yet. What was the date on it? 2030. Okay, we enter it in January, so it's all fine on that one. And then the Spanish Super Cup, we got to the semi-final of this one. We're into the semi-final of this one. A bit of a weird competition, but there we go. That is the update on how we've done. Let's have a look at the results, and then we'll have a look at the squad and see who's been playing. But really, it's been very Almeria. We've been up and down. We've been good in loads of games, like winning 3-0 against Pamplona, Osasuna, and then losing 5-1 to Real Madrid. Very us. Lots of goals, or most of our goals from Chavez Carretero. Some really good wins in there, like we beat Villarreal away from home, and we know they're a really good team right now. We beat Sevilla. We beat Atletico Madrid 2-0. And we lose games like losing to Elche. I swear we always lose to Elche. What are our past meetings against them? I reckon it is a horrendous record against Elche. 13 played. They're better than us in our most recent games. Which is the most recent here? Yeah, recently, look, we've won one of our last 7? We've won one of our last 7 against Elche. I don't know why, but they are our bogey team. We always lose them. I feel like we've watched a couple of live comms against them, haven't we? Yeah, for some reason we lose against them, but we did just beat Valencia. That's the season so far. Let's have a look at the squad and go through it to see who's been playing in which position to finish up today's video. And I guess from this, we can have a look. Should I be selling any of these people? Like Inter, still linked with Moretti. Diacabi linked with a transfer away. Do we take some money for him right now? Probably not, because he's not going to be a lot of money. Chavez Carretero linked to Wolfsburg. We don't do that one, I don't think. Jarry loans. We've got Prince Pay with some loans, and Mark Scott linked to a loan as well. Let's go through the squad, though. Most appearances at right back we have had. This is an interesting one. Pozo has been starting as our right back ahead of Mario Fernandes. Not sure I necessarily agree, but he's definitely had the shirt so far this season. Guy has been our left back. He's played 23 games with lots of games for... Well, we've had some backup games there. I guess we'll go through the subs afterwards. Left centre-back, Perez has played 20 games. Diacabi's played 23. We talked about, was Antonacci going to be a starter? Only 6 starts for him. So Perez still has the shirt at left centre-back. Right central midfield, Lavia has this spot. And then Moretti has this spot. 23 and 24 for them. They've been starters. Right side of midfield, we have had Alejandro. He's been the starter on that side. And then left side, we have had, actually, where is he on here? Marina has come in from his injury, after his injury, and has been the starter there. In the middle here, we have had Freitas. He's been the starter in that number 10 spot. 4 goals, 5 assists from him. And then up front, Chavez Carretero. The bench, if I just look at some of the appearances here, we've had 2 starts for Markovic, left back. Baldovino's only started once, but has come off the bench 15 times. He is getting game time, which does mean these attributes are on the way up. So even as a substitute, that's useful to have him. Lots of appearances off the bench for Geffroy as well. He's developing because of that too. I'm not sure his potential's quite as good though. Is it 11 sub appearances for Aguiar, 1 sub appearance for Mark Scott, 16 sub appearances and 6 starts for Antonacci. He's close to the first team there. Berkovic has come off the bench 10 times, 8 appearances for Mario Fernandes, all as a starter. Chevalier off the bench 3 times, and then Hedwig Koch off the bench 12 times too. That means there are no appearances so far for Prince Pay, for Ivan Amor, the backup goalkeeper, Bertrand Jambor, the left back, the youngster, maybe we loan him. I'll think about that in January now. We do maybe loan him. Svoboda, I'm wondering, he is developing, look. Do we get him some game time? Because he's played 0 games. Dries Mays as well, I think he's playing in the under-21s still. If I go to, in fact, if I can do it on here, look. Oh, he actually isn't. Maybe I make him, right now I'm going to make him available for the under-19s because I think that'll be useful for him. Available for the under-19s, 90 minutes because he's not playing in this first team squad here. That's the update. The squad is, I mean, there's no real changes, to be honest, from last season. Marina's the big one in at left wing and then Gaia at left back. Otherwise, it is our same squad and they're doing about as well as you'd expect them to in 4th place. Only 14 points off the top. Could we win the title? Probably not. But could we push above Sevilla? That'll be the aim. 3rd place would be nice, wouldn't it? There are the player stats, by the way. We don't really feature except for Alejandro with his 7 assists in the league. That's where we're at. I'm going to go and move ourselves into January now. Maybe do some business if we can raise a little bit of money. I've just seen that we've now been linked with Guardiola because I asked his agent if he would move. And that's a fun one. I don't think it's going to happen unless we get a big bid. Having a look at the bids, look. Well, I showed you the wanted players too. Loads of these guys could go out on loan. Maybe that frees up some wages. Maybe that frees up a little bit of transfer budget. Potentially, possibly. I'll let you know in the next video if I decide to go and do that. Thank you so much for watching today. It's been an update video because I'm going to fly through the saves. Next video will be at the end of the season and it might even be after I've done some more transfers because I want to try and get through this save to keep the ball rolling with it. And I'm still having a load of fun with it. I hope you're enjoying it too. If you are enjoying it and you've not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel because it would be really nice to see. And make sure you like the video too to show your support because less people watching it now because we're further into the save. You can really help me out and show that support by liking the video too. Thank you so much for watching today. Most importantly though, have a lovely, lovely rest of your day. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.